Shalom and praise God. My name is Sarah Kamau. I'm very happy to have you this day and even to share the gospel as it has been entrusted to me by the grace of God. We are the Christ School of Ministries under Teacher John M. Bezalel, and we are a teaching ministry with a clear mandate to turn humanity from darkness to light and from the power of Satan to the power of God. We are a teaching ministry. We do whatever we do so that the saints can come to a place of understanding and having a clarity in the gospel and in the whole issue of our relationship with God, so that they can be able to go out there and do the work. I told you last time, there is this one thing that no human being shall be able to do after exiting this life. We have been given an opportunity to do so many things in this life. But there is this one thing that is very, very, very crucial: witnessing or sharing the good news to those who are not yet reconciled back to God. We shall worship in the other life. That's good. But in that other life, we shall not have the opportunity to witness or to share the good news. It is when we are in this body that we have been made able ministers of the new covenant, so that we can be able to preach the good news to many, so that they can be reconciled back to God. And that's why I have taken this opportunity to share with you the good news. To those who are born again, we only need to be equipped with the right message that we have to take out there. Maybe you are an evangelist out there. Maybe you are a pastor, teacher. All of us, as we do this work, and even those who are not functioning in any of the 5 offices, it's good to be familiar with the package of the whole thing about salvation, so that when we go out there, we are able to give what is right, what is the gospel that brings salvation. One thing that I have found to be a misconception in the so-called church setup, we have this notion that someone is born again or someone is saved because that particular person goes to church, that particular person has been baptized, that particular person does not do this or he does this. There are people who have been categorized as Christians just because they are generous. Generosity does not bring salvation to any human being. In short, no human being is made right with God by our works. Nothing we can do to be reconciled back to God. Our efforts can't give us away. Only having faith in Him who He sent, only trusting in Jesus, only having confidence in Him as the Lamb of God who was given to take away the sins of the world, only having faith in Him will bring us to that place of reconciliation. So many people think just because I went to church since I was a little kid, I have been raised up in church, I've done this, I'm a worship leader, I'm in the choir, I'm in this, I'm born again. That one is a big error that I have seen in the church setup. I myself, I was deceived that way. I was brought up in church, and I was very much familiar with the laws of God. Do this, don't do this. And on top of that, I was able to attend all these religious activities that we are subjected to perform in the church setup so that we can be made right with God. I did them, all of them. But every day I had to fight with the sin consciousness. I don't know what it was, but every day I could feel that, Sarah, you are a sinner. Sarah, you are not right with God. Until when I came to understand that a man is not a sinner because of what he does. And a man is not saved, or a man is not right with God because of what he does. I sought to understand this verse in the Bible that says that all are made sinners through one man's disobedience. And I was asking myself, how comes that whatever Adam did so many years before I was born causes me to be counted a sinner before God? The commandment of not eating the fruit was given to Adam and Eve. I was not there. You were not there. But their disobedience to that command, it caused all human beings to be separated from God, to be dead. As I share this with you, I would want you to understand something. We read the Bible as though it's not a real thing, but I want you to have the reality of the Bible. I'll show you a simple illustration that will help you understand the problem of man and why Christ came. Adam was created in the 6th day, and Adam was created in the image and in the likeness of God. In short, man was created perfect. When you go back to Genesis chapter 1, verses 24, when God created man, he gave man power to have dominion over all creation. Man was to multiply and fill the earth. And number 3, man was to subdue the creation. This kind of a responsibility was not given to a foreign creature. Man, when he was created complete and perfect. But in the course of the journey, there came this day as Adam and his wife were enjoying the goodness of God in the garden. They were visited by the serpent. I hope it's clear. And when they were visited by the serpent, who was cunning than any beast of the field that God had created, the serpent spoke to the woman. And whatever the discussion was about a tree that was in the middle of the garden, a tree that they were not to eat its fruit. I just want you to ask yourself, what was the problem with the fruits? Shida ilikuwa na matunda kweli? Kuna shida yote ilikuwa kwa matunda? No. The fruits had no problem. But when the serpent visited Adam and Eve, he had a discussion with Eve. And he asked Eve, has God said that you shall not eat from the tree? And Eve was very good. And the discussion with the serpent continued. And he told the serpent, no, you are misquoting God. God did not say that we shall not eat of every tree in the garden. God said that we shall not eat of the tree that is in the middle of the garden. Eve decided to give a further clarification to the serpent. And she told the serpent that the day we shall eat of this tree, we shall surely die. And the serpent, in his cunningness, told Eve, in fact, you shall not die. God had given them commandment and warned them not to eat of that tree, because the day they shall eat of it, they shall die. The serpent told Eve that you shall not surely die, but you shall be like God. And in being like God, you shall know good and evil. And I believe Eve gave it a thought. And she looked at the tree and the fruits, and we are told that Eve saw that the fruit was pleasant for food. That is Genesis chapter 3. The story is in Genesis chapter 3, from verses 1, and it continues. When Eve focused on the fruit, she was able to see that the fruit was pleasant for food. Yani ilikuwa tamu. And number 2, she saw that the fruit was good to make one wise. Those 2 things. Those were the things that Eve alikaa chini akapiga hesabu akaona, this tree, this fruit is pleasant for food. And number 2, out of the discussion with the serpent, she saw that the fruit is good to make one wise. And so Eve took the fruit, ate the fruit, and we are told she was not selfish. She shared the fruit with the man, Adam, who was with her. So Adam hakuwa mrandona huko. You know, we have been made to believe that Eve had just taken, yani alikuwa tu maraundi zake tu na huko, ameacha Adam akaamua kwenda tu kupiga mrando kwa the garden. No. We are told that when Eve was eating the fruit, she ate and she gave the fruit to the man who was with her in the garden. And the moment Adam aliuma lile tunda, we don't know what kind of a fruit it was, we are not given the details, but whatever kind of a fruit it was, when Adam ate the fruit, we are told something happened. Number 1, their eyes were opened. I have a question. Does it mean that they were blind? Adam and Eve, were they blind before they ate the fruit? No, they were not blind. But when they ate the fruit, we are told that their eyes were opened. Number two, after their eyes were opened, this is the time they knew they were naked. Very interesting. These two guys were in the garden for all that time. And they had their eyes and they were seeing. They could look and they could see. So it doesn't mean that they were blind. They were not blind. They had eyes and they were seeing. And at that time, they came to have a knowledge. And the knowledge was, we are naked. It's interesting. After they came to the knowledge of their nakedness, they decided to sort themselves. And we are told in the same Genesis chapter 3 and verse 7 that they decided to sort themselves. Remember, for all those days after they were created, they were not putting on any clothing. And they didn't have a problem with that. And they were not worried that they had nothing to cover their bodies. But after eating the fruit, they discovered that they were naked, and they sought for a solution to sort themselves. And we are told that they made coverings of fig trees. Yeah? Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves. They sorted themselves using fig leaves to cover their nakedness. Now, at this point, the game changed. Man is no longer the way God had created him. Though he have a responsibility to rule over creation, now he is fallen. He has eaten the food that he was told not to eat. There is a lot of argument in the issue of their death. Some say that Adam and Eve did not die after eating the fruit. Yeah, it's true. In fact, after they ate the fruit, Adam lived for more years, for 800 plus years, after eating the fruit. And now we wonder, what was God speaking about when he told them that the day you shall eat the fruit, you shall surely die? Did God refer to the physical death? Or what death was God referring to? Remember, when man was created here, he was created in the image and in the likeness of God. So man was perfect. And he lacked nothing. Hapa penye nakuja kuingishwa box that you shall be wise. You shall know good and evil. You shall be knowledgeable. Different version uses different words to describe what happened here. These people could not have done this work if they had no knowledge. They had knowledge. But whatever happened at this time brought a lot of problem to all humanity. And now, whatever the writer of Romans, Paul, was talking about when he said that through one man, disobedience, we are told many were made sinners. This is where the story started. The sin, man being counted as a sinner, it started here, not here. It was after eating the fruit. And remember, at this point, Adam and Eve had no child. They were only the two of them. And it was after whatever happened here, after the death that took place, because there was a death that took place, all the human beings that are being born by man through the act of sex, they are born dead. The multiplication of human beings is by the act of sex. And every human being who is born through the act of sex is born dead or separated from God. God did not speak to man about physical death. God was referring to a state of being separated from him who created man in his image and in his likeness. Now, after this mess had happened, God had to sort man as fast as possible. And it is at the same time, God gave them a visit in the garden. That is the story in Genesis chapter 3, verses 8. And when God visited Adam and Eve in the garden, he called for Adam and asked him, "Hey, Adam, where are you?" And I normally imagine how Adam had sought for a place to hide. But when God called Adam, Adam was hiding. And God asked Adam, "Have you eaten of the tree that I told you, that I warned you not to eat?" Because Adam told God, "I heard your voice and I was afraid." Imagine, at this time, before the fall, Adam was afraid of God. He was God's friend in this aspect. God could visit Adam in the garden, and at least wanazungumza mawili matatu. They could fellowship without a barrier. There was no barrier. There was no shame between man and God. Shame was not there. But after the fall, shame ikaingia. Hapa, there was no shame. And that's why, even though Adam and Eve, they were naked, they could not hide from God. But the time they ate the fruit, they realized they were naked and they became shameful and they decided to hide. And when God asked Adam, "Have you eaten from the tree that I warned you not to eat from?" And the answer is just amazing. Sasa badala ya Adam just responding to God in a simple answer, "Yes, we ate," Adam had to get something to justify the story. And that is how we always find ourselves when we are on the wrong side. We have to get something to try to justify our state. Imagine Adam anaulizwa tu swali simple, "Have you eaten of the tree that I warned you not to?" And he started the story. "The woman that you gave to be with me gave me the fruit and I ate. I want you to see this man. After now he has fallen. The woman that you gave me, the woman that you gave to be with me, gave me the fruit and I ate. Okay, ni sawa Adam. God turned to the woman. Woman, what have you done? So God turned to the woman. Woman, what have you done? And the woman was like, the serpent deceived me and I ate. Notice the word the woman used is deceived. The day you shall eat the fruit, you shall die. That is God's statement. The serpent comes and tells them, or tells her, if you eat the fruit, you will not die, but you shall be like God. In the issue of dying, this is what I believe. That's my opinion. Maybe the serpent was able to cause Eve to see as though the death is physical. And when the woman fell into that trap, and she was persuaded that she will not die, God said that you shall surely die. And the serpent tells the woman, you shall not die. And the woman, after eating the tree, surely she did not die. They continued to live. On top of it, she was told that if you eat of that tree, if you eat the fruit, in fact, you will become more knowledgeable. As though the man who was given, and remember, the responsibility was not given to the male alone. This responsibility was given to both the male and the female when they were created. God told them, not he. God told them, have dominion, multiply and fill the earth, and subdue. Now, this human being who was given power to do that is the same human being who is being told that if you eat the truth, you will become knowledgeable. And yet, they were knowledgeable. And now the case was, okay, you ate the fruit. As I had said, death caught up with men. Man becomes separated from God because of what was passed to him by the serpent. Now, the story continues. After God had talked to the woman, and the woman gave her story, God turned to the serpent, and he asked this, and he told the serpent, because you have done this, you serpent, because you have done this, what did the serpent do? The serpent deceived man. The serpent caused man to fall out of his position in God and fall into a position, the same position that the serpent was in. A state that brought shame to man. A state that could not give man confidence to relate with God. A state that denied man peace and confidence. And so God turned to the serpent and told the serpent, because you have done this, you are cursed more than all the cattle. And the story followed in chapter 14. I just want to read chapter 3, verses 14. We are in Genesis. So the Lord God said to the serpent, because you have done this, you are cursed more than all cattle and more than every beast of the field, and on your belly you shall go, and you shall eat dust, and all the days of your life I will put enmity between you and the woman. Now, the serpent, because you have done this, you have brought man down, curse zikaachiliwa. This is the first record we have in the Bible. God releasing curses. The serpent was the first one to be cursed. And God told the serpent, you know, for us we are just familiar with this mnyama. God told the serpent, I will put enmity between you and the woman, between your seed and her seed. And the serpent was told that the seed of the woman shall, some version uses the word bruise, others uses the word crush your head, and you shall also bruise his heel. All this is happening at the garden the moment man has disobeyed God. After this, God now addressed the woman. And he told the woman, kasi ingine, ya kwanza ilikuwa ya serpent. To the woman, God said, to the woman now, let me just use this is what we are familiar with. To the woman, God said that I will greatly multiply your sorrow and conception. That's not a blessing, that's a curse. Number two, the woman was told that in pain you shall bring forth. Pain in child bearing. And then the woman is told again that your desires shall be for your husband. She is given the final blow. She is told the man shall rule over you. Before the fall, during this time, we don't know the number of years, but during this time, before the fall, man was not a ruler over the woman. But after the fall, the woman being subjected under the leadership of the man, of the male, was as a result of a curse of what happened here. Otherwise, that one was not so before the fall. God did not stop there. He turned now to the man. God spoke to the man, because here we have three. We have the serpent, we have the woman, and we have the man. And of course, God, near overall. So, to the man, God said, because you have heeded to the voice of the woman, and have eaten of the tree that I told you not to eat, the ground is cursed because of man. And he was told that in toil you shall eat of it. Before the fall, man was not toiling to eat. But after the fall, man is told that he will toil. The ground was cursed because of the man, and he was told that out of the toil, yani utakula jasho, out of your toil you shall eat from the ground. But there before, it was not a crime. And he was told that both thorns and thistles, both thorns and thistles, it shall bring forth for you. And you will till, but the ground will give you these things that are called thorns and thistles. And you shall eat the herbs of the field. In the sweat of your face you shall eat bread. Yani, the fact that the ground was cursed, man was to work towards the ground so that he can eat. Otherwise, without toiling, man, you will not eat from the ground. It was not a blessing, it was a curse. Till you return to the ground. Yani, all the days of your life, you will have to sweat for you to eat. And so, the three creatures, the serpent, the woman, and the man, they all have a reward for whatever happened here. Serpent, amekasiwa, and he is given a promise. God gives a promise to the serpent that the seed of the woman shall come and bruise your head or crush your head, depending on your version, but you shall bruise the seed of the woman. And when we talk of the serpent, we are not talking of our nyoka wa kawaida. Hawa wanadamu wangekuwa wamemaliza kitambo. But we shall look into that in details. And after that, the story was over. The story of this event was over. And at this point, I want you to know that man had no child. They were only the two of them. Cain, Abel, others, Akina Seth were not yet born. But it was after this fall, we are told that at the age of 130 years, Adam gave birth to Seth. So we can simply say, before Adam was 130, he had fallen. Before Seth was born, because we are given the number of years of Adam when Seth is born. That is in Genesis chapter 5. But before Seth is born, we have two sons here, Cain and Abel. And before Seth is born, before Adam was over 130 years, tayari uovu ulikuwa duniani. Cain had killed Abel before Adam was 130, because Seth was born after Cain had killed Abel. That's a story. It's just history. But I wanted you to understand what happened in the garden. That's all I wanted you to understand for today. That in the garden, whatever happened here brought troubles and problems to all human race. Man was separated from God because of whatever happened here. Man acquired shame. Man could not stand with confidence before God because of whatever happened here. And man died. Not a physical death. Man did not die a physical death. Man was spiritually separated from God. That is what happened in the garden. Next, we shall start from here after the fall, and we will look into the walk of man until Christ came and died. Because man continued living, though separated from God. Man multiplied through the act of sex, and humanity just filled the earth until Christ came. And so I'll be taking you through this time, from the fall to the coming of Christ, for us to understand why this happened, because this is where the issue of our salvation takes place. But if we don't understand the story, what happened here and the story here, we don't understand why salvation is by believing in this Jesus. We shall continue from there, and I will explain more. But it's good to understand that the fall of man was before he was 130 years. He was created perfect in the creation. He was created perfect in the image and in the likeness of God, given responsibility to have dominion and to subdue the creation, and even to multiply and to fill the earth. But he was not able to do that because he was turned here. And so we shall continue with the study, and we shall see from the Bible what followed and how God fulfilled this promise that he gave to the serpent. The promise of the seed here, God gave it to the serpent because that was the only way man could be free. Remember, the seed is not the seed of the man, it is the seed of the woman. And we shall look into the details of that, hoping that it is well understood up to that point. And if any question, kindly don't fear, ask your questions, inbox me, and I will be very happy to answer your questions. Otherwise, you are very much blessed, and thank you for following. Thank you for your time, and I pray that you will be established in the knowledge of Christ, and that in all things, for us who claim to have faith in Christ, we shall be established in the knowledge of Him.